All right. What up? It's your boy Tom Till 2. My hair is doing its own thing. I had a hat on. Okay, so I had an interesting conversation with someone I knew. Brother man has a family, and I saw him. I was like, "Yo, how you doing?" He was like, "Yo, my kids, they're sick," and I'm like, "Okay." Like, when he says kids, he doesn't mean young adults. He means kids. He means a newborn baby last month. He means a 3-4-year-old. And I was like, "Well, what's up?" He was like, "They got their new flu." And I was like, "What flu?" You know what I'm saying? I heard about it because I was like, they had a flu. He's like, "Yeah, they got that new virus going around." And the thing about viruses is once you get a virus, it doesn't leave you. It doesn't leave you. It stays, in your nervous system, to my knowledge. And the symptoms is what you're fighting. And then every now and then it'll poke its head back out again. Like chicken pox, when you get older and you don't fight, off things very well, it turns into shingles. And, the cold virus and herpes, they flare-ups and stuff like that. You just fight the symptoms. You're not fighting the actual virus because it just doesn't go anywhere. According to modern medicine. Now, here's the thing. He told me that his job, he doesn't have to, get a shot. But then he said his wife's job, she has to get a shot, or she can't work there. And I started thinking, isn't that in direct violation of something? You know what I'm saying? You have to get this in your body or you can't work here. And I was like, that don't sound right. And then he went on to say, he said the daycares won't take your child if your child doesn't have a flu shot. And this is true because they think everybody else is going to get sick from your child. And they said, the schools, you're not allowed to come to school if your child isn't, doesn't have the flu shot, is inoculated. You know what I'm saying? So these kids took these flu shots and they're sick. The wife is even getting sick. And they all had to take it. And what's really something is he's the only one who isn't required to take it. So he hasn't taken a flu shot. And guess what? He's not sick. Listen, I never heard a job say, you have to take this shot or you can't work there. And the reason why they hit me so hard is because my degree is in health service administration. So I could very well end up in one of those jobs. I could end up working for a hospital or a health facility because that's what my degree is in. Those are the people who will hire me, among other people, insurances and stuff like that, who probably won't say you need to take this. But, there are medical offices is where I'm angling towards. And I could very well, get that memo, and or they say this is a, prerequisite to you actually working here. We'll pay you this, certain amount that you're looking for, no problem. If you want to continue your education, tuition reimbursement, not a problem. Vacation days, all that good stuff. But if you're dorking this door, you will have to have proof that you've taken a flu shot this year. And you have to take it every year. Remember, it's administered once a year. Now, here's the thing about that. What if, okay, so this is a different strand of virus or whatever it is. It's making everybody sick, a lot of kids. What if another virus comes out, starts making kids sick? Only the ones who've taken this flu shot. And they say, you have to take this shot too to inoculate for that virus. And any parents that are working in any health facility have to take it too. Let's not forget what happened to the people in Africa who suffered from the first administration of this lie and pretty much helped the AIDS virus pretty much kill 35 million people. They were lied to by, I think, the English, who a doctor made this virus and pretty much started telling these people this is going to make you better, and it killed them. And it killed so many people. Just flat out killed them. And the thing about it is they knew it would kill them. Now, I'm not saying that the flu is going to kill you because, flu turns into pneumonia or, so on and so forth. I'm not a doctor, but pneumonia will definitely kill you. With flu symptoms, not so much. I don't know anybody who's died from the flu, so that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying that there are certain things that are gateways to my limited understanding until I look further into it, which is what I do. There are certain things that are gateways, to other elements of the same problem. They're usually compounded by just one thing. You can have HIV and then it turns into AIDS, where your system can't keep up, and your T cells drop. But if you just have HIV, you can, live like anybody else, normal. Now, when it comes to the flu, I'm not sure if the flu is a gateway to other viruses, but what I'm sure is it's a virus. And viruses are killing people by the millions. And there have been nurses who've come out and spoke at length to Congress about the flu vaccine and about how they couldn't even say anything while they were working at these hospitals. But as soon as they stopped working there, they were just like, don't take this. Now, you had one nurse who said, during the time I worked there, she worked there for 30-something years, she says, I never took it. She said her people that she worked with, other employees, they took it. And she watched how they got sick, and it was just a red flag to her, like, I'm not doing this. Now, see, those times have changed. Why would a hospital tell you you have to take this or you can't work there? See, the thing is, there is no data that proves that if everyone takes the flu virus, then no one else who works there will not get the flu. And you can find data that may have variables to it. You may say 30 people, worked here, 10 of them took the flu virus, 13 of them got sick. You may have that, but you know that the flu can jump from one, person to another. Common cold can jump from one person to another. But and we've seen this in kids, kids get it, one get it, boom, everybody got it, But I've never heard of a whole hospital, a whole medical facility, everybody in there is sick, all the employees, all sick. Never heard of that. I've never heard of that. Anywhere, in any country. Everyone here is sick, because they did not take the flu vaccine. I've never heard of it. If anybody has, enlighten me. It's dangerous it's even more dangerous now for people who are either looking for employ or employed at certain facilities that changed their policy. Because if you're one of these people who don't want to take the vaccine, then you could be looking at getting fired. And they can have every right to do it. Now, there's some states that are at will, like Ohio, they can just fire you at will. It's not without repercussions, though, because there are certain things that you could fight, especially if you think you've been discriminated against for one reason or another. And there's all type of discrimination, not just for Black people and or for women. There's male discrimination, there's weight discrimination, height discrimination, there's age discrimination. So there's a lot that a case could be brought up because a person is different in a certain form and can say, this is why you singled me out. Other than that, my work performance and everything is great, yada, yada, yada. And that's what they can base their case on and win. So it will end up costing a facility more to get rid of them than to keep them. So people got to be careful on that. HR, administration, and big deals out there who think you can just do anything to anyone. You can't, because people can fight back and you will lose in court. That is a thing. Okay, but I cannot sit up here and tell you do not take the flu vaccine. I can tell you that the aggressive nature of healthcare companies, of insurance companies, of medical facilities, schools and whatnot, they're becoming more and more aggressive towards the people who don't take it. And they're telling you now that you have to. They're creating situations that can hurt you financially if you don't. Now, when you look at the average working family, the average working, two-income family, the average, they need their jobs. Daycare costs a lot, okay? Kids cost a lot, okay? You know what I'm saying? Kids cost a lot. Everything that is involved with children costs a lot. It's not cheap. And especially if you want your kid, which most people do, want them to be healthy, kids, smart, and have every advantage that's available to them at their fingertips. You know what I'm saying? If you live in this area and this is a good school, you want to be able to go to this school. You know what I'm saying? Especially if the child is mentally sound and can go to the school. So nothing that the child, no problem with the child, is stopping them from going to the school. No problem with the parents are stopping them from going to the schools. They abide by all the rules, and the child is of sound mind. But nonetheless, here comes this new rule, this new governance, and now you have to pull your child out of that school, which is probably the best school, and the closest, so it's more convenient. And you either abide by the rules and or you'll be homeschooling your kid, which means one of you will have to stay at home and or homeschool your kid at night. So you have to become you have to be a traditional family that becomes a non-traditional family in order to live outside of the confounds of what these schools are, perpetuating. Now, that's an effort. Homeschooling is a thing. It works. You have plenty of people who are homeschooled and their kids are brilliant. Their kids are graduated from college at 16 years old. Kids have master's degrees at 17 and doctorate degrees at 20. So homeschool is a thing. It works. They reach all the curriculum, and a lot of times they surpass that. We didn't have that when I was growing up, but my brother was one of those brilliant people who said, you know what, I'm done with school. And he dropped out at 17 and broke my mother's heart, but my mom didn't understand that her kid was brilliant. And my brother just got out and got a GED, joined the service, and kept rolling. You know what I'm saying? He just kept rocking. Like it's boring to me. So then you have this whole ADD thing. Now everybody's ADD. I would have been on Ritalin when I was a kid. ADD. Because I couldn't sit still. Kind of find out that I can do 3 things at one time, and I'm just fine. It wasn't ADD. I didn't have attention deficit disorder. I had a way of learning that was non-traditional. So, there's some more non-traditional factors that in today's world, they've compensated for that. But these strands of flus and, that are coming along, these are, it's dangerous. Listen, okay, let me say this. The government is the one who says, what is and what isn't. The Department of Health. Of course, President, Congress, on down, and then passed on along to us. Says, this is what we deem safe for your child. This is newborn all the way up to high school. This is what we deem safe for your child. The problem with that is the variables that are the different human beings. Now, of course, we all seem to have the same pretty much basic DNA, pretty much resembling of a frog or a banana, but anyway, but we, have our basic DNA. And what I'm saying is, to me, I don't think that the flu vaccine is acceptable and healthy and digestible for every person. It's hard to get that out because I know that some doctor or some body can look at this and go ahead and rip me a new one. And the truth is, I welcome that because all you're going to do is make me smarter. You're just going to make me smarter, and I'm going to recapitulate the information that you give, and to the few people who actually watch this video, we're going to get smarter. And then we're going to try to find ways to either be copacetic with what is said and what is learned, and or we are going to go in another direction that is healthy and still follows the guidelines of the governance that we live under. And that is highly possible. You have a lot of people who live in a non-traditional fashion. A lot of those people won't take the flu shot. A lot of those people don't go to hospitals, not unless it's something major. And some of those people even get around that, But one person told me hospitals are for sick people. So there it is. I just had to talk about that. And of course, we could talk about it at length if anybody wants to get into it and really go into it. We can pull up some data, some videos. There are a lot of healthcare professionals who have talked about this subject. And those healthcare professionals, they're looked at, they're targeted. You're targeted. Like I said, the one lady wouldn't even say anything while she worked for a hospital. She's a nurse for 30 years. She's like, I no longer work at the hospital, so now I can speak on this subject. She was afraid to lose her job that she was good at and we need. But she was afraid that somebody from administration was going to say, you either get the flu shot or you're out. Now just imagine that. You get the, and here's the thing, that's on some Gestapo type stuff to me. You get it or else you're going to be punished. That's what's going on right now in America. Everyday families do it or be punished for it financially. Now, what's to stop them from saying every household needs to get the flu shot? Period. And I'm going to tell you something. With all of these people pouring in from Honduras, with all these people coming in from Africa, Asia, you know, a lot of places where the Zika virus was, it was ground zero and all of that type of stuff. We had a scare where the guy came from Africa, he had Ebola. Remember that? That guy came in and then they had a few cases of people who had Ebola and one guy died from it, I believe. So you have a lot of people who legally are coming into America who are sick. Very sick. What's to stop the government from saying everybody needs to take this? No, I'm sorry. Everybody will take this. What's to stop the government from saying, if you cross into our borders, you must, which they're already doing, you must register, right? During the registration of yourself, you will get a shot. What's to stop the World Health Organization from passing this down to all countries? And just think of the benefit to it on every level except ours. When you just think of the financial benefit of that inoculation worldwide. And do you really think that that's not coming down the pipe? Because if you do, then you are living in another universe. That is not only coming down the pipe, it's going to be here very shortly. And I don't mean very shortly in 100 years. I mean very shortly, probably in the next 20 or less. All of the things that's going on with these borders and them trying to close the borders and keep people out, it's not even physically possible to do that. People come into this country by water. And they make it. Here's the thing about Mexico. Mexico, of course, is right next door. A lot of people don't drive into this country. They don't do that. What about the people from other neighboring countries down there near Florida? They come in by water. You got people who are hiding in the bottom of ships coming into the country. It's hard to stop people from coming into the country. But you can deter people from coming into the country, which is the next move. You can say, if you come to this country, you will be militarized. And if you're not, you will be punished. You can't be a citizen unless you serve in the military. You think that can't happen? Very much can. And for the military people, what's to stop the president from saying everyone in the military and their families all need to get this shot? Because when I was in the military, that didn't happen. But that is Commander-in-chief, one simple order. Boom, that's it. And it trickles right down. Right down. 5-star, right on down. Me, little E3, E4, boom. Next thing you know, my E7 come to me. Specialist pal, yes, sir. You need to go to the infirmary, and they're going to give you a shot, and you need to get back here ASAP. Go. You think I didn't get orders like that, where I had to go and do something that was just, but what are you going to say? I'm just telling you that, you know, when I heard my friend talk about what's happening to him and his family and his kids, it just put a red flag. And he already knew. He said, I already know what's going on. And I'm just like, do you know the full? And he's bright. This dude is bright. I mean, we get out there and we talk. This dude is bright. He is on top of it. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times we'll you know, get together and powwow, and we will just go through a lot of world issues. And because that's our thing. We like to talk about world issues and what's being done about it. Because we see a lot of, you know, issues going on, and they know what my degree is, so they really like to, you know, chop it up with me. They don't like to come at me. They just like to talk about certain things, because there is in our neighborhood, there is a collage of different races that live here, you know, and then we notice the ones that don't live here. We notice the Asians, they don't live here. There is no Asian family in our neighborhood. Not one. Not one. Not even a mixed Asian. Like a Asian and black, or Asian and white. None. There's no Asian family that lives here. There is no Indian family that lives here. There was one, and they moved out almost immediately. There's no Indian family that lives here. I don't even think there's an Arab family that lives here. None. I've been living here for 7, 8 years. None. I saw one and they jetted. But ask if any of their businesses are here. And the answer is yes. Arabs right across the street. And I mean right across the street. Asian, not even a mile from here. Not even a mile. Indian, shoot, I don't know any Indian businesses around here, but I know they're not that far. So you get the point. These people don't live in our neighborhood, but they benefit from our neighborhood. They just don't live here. At any rate, so I just wanted to cover some of that information, and I can talk about this at length, but I've had people complain about my lives being too long. Well, it's a live, so you can do a Q&A, you can get responses, and anyone who's affected by this can chime in right now instead of, you know, looking at this later so much and waiting on an answer. They can get an answer now, or they can give their opinion and get an opinion from it now. So that's the whole purpose of my lives being so long. A lot of times I'll get maybe 1 or 2 people on here, and I will just talk to those 1 or 2 people. And that's fine with me, because I'm not here for a popularity contest. I'm here to make people aware of what's going on in my neck of the woods and compare it to their neck of the woods, so we can all be aware, you know, so we all can be prepared for the next move. Look at our choices. You know what I'm saying? Some people may even choose to leave, you know, America, which is fine, you know. And I know I've had some neighbors that actually did that, you know, some by choice and others because they had to. But nonetheless, so like I said, there's a lot of different races that lives in this neighborhood. So you have a lot of people who are international. You know, you can talk to them about what's going on in their country. And that's what I love, because I get direct feedback from somebody who is from that country, and they'll tell you exactly what the healthcare system is out there. There's not a universal healthcare here in America. You know what I'm saying? But there are several countries who are, second and third world that have universal health care. You know what I'm saying? And it's working for them. And for some countries, it's not working for them. So you may have people, who go to one of these countries that have universal health care, and they're a socialist system, and they go there and they get a free education. They go there and they get free health care. It may not be the health care that's up to par for them, but nonetheless, they're getting health care. Anyways, so you guys give me your feedback, and we can talk more about this subject. And I'm betting there's a lot of people who are going through this. And if you're looking to have a child, you're also looking at putting yourself in this position where your child can be sick from something they were told they had to take. And you, the parent, have to look at your child, brand new, can't even talk. And you can look at your child who's so sick they can't even take medicine. And you have to go to work, come home, and deal with that every day, not knowing if the child's going to get sicker because they're not taking medicine, not knowing are there going to be long-term repercussions because of their sickness, or you know what I'm saying, some things you just don't know until the child grows up. You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, they're 10 years old, and some of their physical functions are starting to, you're looking at them like, what's wrong? And they can't keep up with the other kids because of some type of nervous or nerve degenerative, whatever. And it happens all the time. And it just hits them, boom, 10 years old, bam, they're in a wheelchair. They're no longer able to walk. And their situation's getting worse by the second. And it's very noticeable. And you're like, you were just think this hasn't happened? It has. And it's non-discriminatory. So it's happened to all different people in different, well, we're all one race, we're the human race. But it's different. It doesn't discriminate when it comes to class. What class? How much money you got? If you're sick, you're sick, and we've seen this over and over again. So some of these illnesses may be caused by something that you're told to take. I can't necessarily say that's true, but what I can say is you should look into it. And the reason why I can't say that is true because I don't have direct data. If I had direct data, I would speak on that. And if somebody wants me to get direct data, then I will start from the WHO and then, come all the way down to your demographic, your city that you're in, and look up your physical demographic, what sex you are, age, area that you live in, because you can have people who have a high rate of asthma. I did a paper on this, and they had people who lived in a certain place in the city, they had more asthma than people who didn't live in that particular place, and they found out where the asthma was coming from. I am one of those people who were affected by that. I live right next to a steel mill, so we would see black snow come down, and we'd be wondering why is the snow black. That's because the steel mill is pouring down all kind of ash upon our heads, and a lot of us were sick from it. So I can speak at length about healthcare issues because I really enjoy it. I really enjoy the knowledge of it. And so if you guys got any questions, let me know.